Why doesn't North Carolina have basements? Well, today we are going to be going over the 5 reasons why basements are not that typical here in the state of North Carolina. My name is Meredith Parsons. I'm a realtor. I live here and love it here. I want you to move here and love it here as much as I do. And if you could do this, it would be so awesome. If you can like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because each week I'm going to be taking you on a little tour, a little adventure of all things Greensboro Triad area, and I wouldn't want you to miss out. You want to go check out why Greensboro doesn't have that many basements? Let's go. Why aren't there any basements in North Carolina? I get this question all the time, and it is predominantly from people moving from northern states or colder states, but there are people relocating here, and it is a question I get all the time, and I thought we might as well do a video on this because I'm sure you may have that question as well. So we're going to go over the 5 reasons why the state of North Carolina, predominantly as a whole, we don't have that many basements. Now that's just not to say that we don't have any basements at all. We definitely do, but these are just the 5 reasons why we typically don't see them everywhere, especially in the coastal area and in the Piedmont area, which is where the Triad is. 1 is the soil. The soil that we have here is this red clay. If you're from the South, you know what it is. If you're not, then you'll get to know it if you move here. The soil is just very, very dense. And especially when it's been raining, it holds a ton of water. If it's been really dry, it can get really like cracked, like think deserty. But the problems that usually arise is when water's involved. 2, we have a very high water table. We have a lot of rivers and streams throughout the state, which can impact it in terms of flooding, but like also underlying water underneath. So when we have a bunch of water, rainfall that happens more so like consecutively, the water table just happens to just get more and more wet. You may not have a like standing flood outside, but you will then, water will just start kind of coming up. We have a 1938 house with like a cellar, one of the creepy ones. And we've redone it, but we had 2 weeks of rain, like just nothing but rain. And I went down there, and all of a sudden I'm like, why is the carpet wet down here? We have a rug, and all of a sudden it just had started coming up in an area we had never had problems with it flooding down there. 3, we have mild climates here. We don't have like super freezing cold winters. We don't need to have that added extra space for insulating pipes and that sort of thing, because it just doesn't get that cold here. So that's not something that we need. But I will say that with our climate, with it being hot here, it does give you like a damp basement. In ours, we have a dehumidifier that runs constantly. It empties into a sump pump and then goes out. So that's something that if you were wanting one, you may need that in your house. 4 is the building and cost efficiency of building a house with a basement. The average for the state of North Carolina is between $100 and $150 a square foot to build a house. You are going to be adding on way higher than that to then excavate, dig in, put in a basement, and then finish or kit out that space. So it is definitely a higher cost in doing it, and also because you've got all this red clay, it's different. And builders do, not all the time, but often worry about sealing it and it being a reason that water intrusion could possibly occur. Now that doesn't mean that you can't have a basement. You definitely can. I've sold plenty of houses that had basements. It's just one of those things that they aren't typically everywhere. 5, more times than not, we have hurricanes that come through the state through the months of like August is kind of prime time of hurricanes coming through. August, September, October, sometimes even in November, but you're getting to the point where that normally doesn't happen. Hurricanes are definitely hitting on the coast. We are in the southeast of the US, so what we're having here are hurricanes that come through. But by the time it gets to us in the middle of the state, in the Piedmont, it's slowed down. Like it's not as bad, but what we do get are heavy rains, we get high winds, and we get flooding. So this is another reason why when you've got this red clay, which I feel like all I do is keep saying red clay, the red clay is just gonna hold the moisture and like surround your house and then potentially flood your house. There are basements everywhere. They're just not as common as they are in the north where everybody seems to have them. They just don't have it here. It doesn't make it bad. And my horror stories of what's happened in my house doesn't mean that this should frighten you from getting one. You just need to know why we don't have that much and why it's something that could happen potentially. I appreciate you sticking to the end. I hope you've learned all that you wanted to learn about basements and the state of North Carolina. If you've got any questions or other topics that you would like to know about, put them in the comments below. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.